So today, what I want to talk about is the purpose of reviews. This obviously matters to Nintendo fans and really any gaming fans in general because, like it or not, most of us pay attention to reviews in some way. Maybe it's just because games like Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild have become two of the highest rated games of all time this year, or maybe it's because we want to crap all over a game by a company we may not like. I know several of you out there have no problem crapping all over EA, so if Battlefront 2 got a bunch of bad reviews, you would probably pay attention to that. Now, how much you care about the reviews in terms of your own purchasing habits might not matter, or maybe it does. And I want to talk about reviews because a video I put up late last night, was about how Microsoft told an IGN reviewer, and I realize some of you guys don't like IGN, you made that very clear in the comments, to stop discouraging people from playing a game. This IGN reviewer gave a poor review to one of their recent releases, and yeah, the person from Microsoft didn't take kindly to that, even though they agreed with a lot of the criticism that was lobbied at the game itself. But what they didn't agree with was that the reviewer obviously suggested that people pass on the game, which obviously is trying to tell people whether or not they should buy the game. And I posed this question in the video. I didn't give much of an answer myself, but I posed the question that should reviewers be telling people if they should purchase a game or not, and should companies like Microsoft be criticizing them for doing so? And the responses to this kind of surprised me, but it made me want to make this video because I have a very strong opinion on this that might upset some of you guys, or maybe you'll just agree to disagree. But yeah, let's just hop right into your comments, and I'll start responding. This is going to be similar to a Prime Comments episode, except on a single topic because, man, oh man, do I have some thoughts. So let's get right into the first comment I'm going to talk about today. This one's by Emmanuel Rosado. It is actually the top liked comment on the post at this time. And it says, actually, encouraging to buy it is not part of a review and is not necessary. In a review, you evaluate the game, point out the pros, cons, and details. You already did your part so that the players compare against other titles and see if it's worth the money for them. That's being formal and objective. If you encourage whether to buy or not the game, you are deliberately shifting or forcing your personal decisions on other people. Your job is to review and let people make their own choice based on these. There are already user reviews that encourage either to get them or not. So an objective and professional attitude is expected from critics, or at least that's how it should be. And it says, to be fair, I understand the feelings of the Microsoft publisher, but I don't think that he shouldn't have made any comments. Here's the thing. I'm going to put this out there right now. And I did this in response, but I don't know how many people read it. Reviews are not objective. Video game reviews especially. Certain reviews can be objective if the idea is, I've used this example before, if there's a brand new coffee maker out there and the idea is to see if the coffee maker using the same ingredients makes a better cup of coffee, you're going to review it as such. You'll be able to give a lot of factual statements. Here are the pros, here are the cons, here are the facts, and obviously the opinion of which one is a better cup of coffee is going to come down to what way do you like your coffee? Do you like a darker roast? Do you like a lighter roast? Etc. So that's going to vary from coffee maker to coffee maker, and that's the subjective nature. You're never going to tell someone not to buy a coffee maker if it makes a roast in a way that you might not prefer per se, because it's a type of roast that you are well aware that other people enjoy. So you make your recommendations based on that. But here's the thing. That recommendations word is key here, because reviews are all about helping consumers make purchasing decisions. It's not just about giving them a list of facts. If that was the case, you could literally just read off the facts about the product. It makes coffee. It makes a dark roast. It makes a light roast. It does this. It does that. It uses this much electricity if you care about that kind of thing. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's easy to clean, maybe it's dishwasher safe, maybe it's not, whatever the case may be. Those list of facts might be determining factors for you to purchase the product, but in a video game, things are not so cut and dry like that. As an example, when people reviewed Breath of the Wild. A lot of people gave it perfect scores. Really the same with Super Mario Odyssey. And a lot of people argued a game cannot have a perfect 10 if the game isn't perfect. But here's the deal. What makes a game perfect? There's no universal agreement on what makes a game perfect. You can say, well, having no faults. But what is a fault to one person might not be a fault to somebody else. As an example, a lot of people hate the item breaking mechanic in Breath of the Wild, but I love it. So is it a fault that I enjoy it, or is it a fault that other people don't? Exactly. It's not a fault. It's a subjective opinion. So here's the thing with game reviews. Game reviews are not meant, nor should they ever be meant, to be objective. Objective reviews are just a list of facts, whether good or bad. As an example, what Digital Foundry does are objective takes on games. They examine visuals, they examine frame rate, they examine resolution, they examine the facts of the game itself. That is they don't even call it a review. It's an analysis of the factual statements of how well a game performs. So you can look at that and you'll factually know this game performs better on this platform, this game is missing certain features on this platform, and maybe you make purchasing decisions based on that. There obviously are people that will do that, although I often wonder if that kind of analysis just fuels console wars more than it actually fuels purchasing decisions, but that's neither here nor there. It's an objective look. Digital Foundry isn't purposely favoring one platform or the other. It's looking at the facts and basing the conclusions on those facts. A review of a game is not like that, because whether or not you enjoy the game is going to massively affect how you view it. And when you're reviewing a game, you're going to review it based on your experiences. And it's impossible to take bias out, because as this person says, your job is to review and let other people make a choice based on these. You are supposed to compare against other titles. Why are you supposed to compare against other titles? What titles are they comparing against? How are you supposed to know the experience of the person making the review? That's the thing. Reviews are personal. They are based on that particular person's experience. Someone noted, like, if this review of this Microsoft game was done, was released on a Sony platform, it would have got a better review. Possibly because it would have been a different person reviewing the game. It wouldn't have been the person that does their Xbox reviews reviewing it. It would have been someone from Sony, and that person might have enjoyed the game more than Ryan did from IGN. So, yeah, reviews are subjective. They're supposed to be subjective. If you want objective reviews, then you don't want reviews of video games at all. What you want are analysis. Analysis and reviews are two totally separate things. Reviews are literally subjective opinion-based takes on if the game is good. Now, they might give you facts, because there will be facts that sometimes back up some of these opinions. Facts like, Doom on Nintendo Switch runs at 30 FPS and occasionally has dips, runs at 720p, but also runs at less. Those are facts that might affect the opinion of the reviewer. But usually there's a hell of a lot more that goes into the opinions on whether or not a game is good on said platform. Now, this also gets into, should reviewers be telling people to buy or not buy a game? I think fully yes, they absolutely should, because that's the point of a review. The review exists to tell the audience if they should be spending their money on this game. It's not just there to give the audience additional information to make purchasing decisions on their own, although a review definitely does that. The review is about that person's opinion on the game, and if that person's conclusion is you shouldn't be playing that game, they definitely should be telling you that. They should not feel they need to hold it back. See, this idea of objectiveness in reviews, I think, is what set me off and made me want to make this video today. And it's not just this commenter. Although this is the one that has the most likes, there are several other commenters out there that are kind of saying the same things. There's some people that get it, that think that this is the point of game reviews. It's to make purchasing this. Like, here's the thing. This guy at IGN isn't making my decision for me. To claim a reviewer makes a decision for the consumer is silly, because that takes away the entire user choice thing. Like, all these bad reviews of Sonic Forces, it doesn't stop people from buying Sonic Forces if they want to buy Sonic Forces. What it's saying is that according to those reviewers, they if you tend to agree with their opinions on video games, you are probably going to agree with them that Sonic Forces isn't good, and thus you will save money by listening to their suggestion to not buy the game. It's just like when my friends tell me, you should go to this movie, or you shouldn't go to this movie, or you should go to that movie. Like, I listen to their advice. I still might go to the movie anyways, but they also know what I like and what I don't like, and what they like and what they don't like, and they make their suggestions to me based on all of that information. So, yeah, like, this is the point of a game reviewer. And it's interesting because, like, the next highest liked comment is actually, LOL, that's a game reviewer's job, because it is a game reviewer's job to give us their subjective opinion. And if that opinion concludes with a purchasing decision or suggestion, then that's totally fine, because that's part of the job of a reviewer, is to help people make those decisions. Whew! Little bit of a rant there. I'm not upset at Emmanuel here or anyone who agrees with him. I understand that there's no set definition for review. Like, when you look up review, I was looking up in the dictionary just to see what it says. None of this really applies specifically to video games, for starters, but it says, like, a critical take or report. Okay, that's got nothing to do with it having to be objective. And they give examples like a book, play, recital, critique, evaluation, the process of going over a subject again and steady. Obviously, that's more of like a educational purpose. Exercise or design intended for study of this kind, a general survey of something, especially in words, a report or account of something, an inspection or examination by viewing, especially a formal inspection of like military or naval force, parade, blah, 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 periodical publication containing articles, a judicial, like, a lot of this stuff doesn't actually apply to video games, but like, if you use it as a verb, like to go over, like a lesson or review, to view at, look at over again, inspect, to survey, to discuss, to look back upon, to present a survey or speech or writing, to write reviews, review books, movies, etc., as for a newspaper or periodical. Like, there's no definition here for how that review has to be conducted. There's no word here in your, like, when people say review should be, objective, I'm literally looking at the definition of review. Nowhere in here does it say objective. That is something that you are placing your value on. You prefer an objective review. But I'm here to kind of crush your dreams. No actual review, not analysis, actual review of a game is objective. You want to know why? There's not a single reviewer out there that has never played another game and compared those games to each other subconsciously. It's interesting, too, when someone says it should be objective, and then they're saying that the basis of the objectiveness is comparing it to similar or other titles. That's not being objective at all. That's not basing the game on its own merits. That's not looking at the game in a vacuum and deciding if it's fun. That is using your experiences as a gamer to determine if a game is good. That, by nature, is completely subjective. So, yeah, by your own definition, people can't be objective in the first place. Moving on, I'll just bring up a couple more comments. DRM Sparkles, because this game was about Lucky's Tale. And it says, side note, I 100% completed Lucky's Tale, and I thought it was tons of fun. Tons of issues, to be sure, and it's far from Mario Odyssey quality. However, I think people aren't giving it a fair shot, partly because a lot of the platforming fans and people who would be into it dislike Xbox. And that's always possible. I could say for certainty that it's better than games like Yooka-Laylee and maybe even A Hat in Time, but those get tons of praise. And I noted that those games actually don't get tons of praise, especially Yooka-Laylee. Yooka-Laylee got blasted by the media. It got a little bit defended by some fans, but it did not review well. So, just some interesting stuff there. Then you have GU, King of Heart. I know it's a longtime fan of Nintendo Prime saying that a reviewer should never tell people not to buy a game because that is giving their biased opinion. But that's the thing. Reviews are biased. This is why there are so many reviewers in the first place. You need to find the reviewer that you often agree with the most. Opinions are subjective. They're always biased, and they're always going to be based on that person's experience and taste. So then he goes on to say a real reviewer should not only list the flaws of the game and not base it on what they like/dislike. That's dumb. I'm sorry, that's dumb. So a reviewer should just here are the facts. The game runs at this. The game, like, they can't say, oh, the art style is good. They can't say they enjoy the art style. You jump in this game. But is that platforming well? Like, everything you want to know about a game and a game review is going to be subjective. Because facts aren't going to tell you that. Like, let's say you're reviewing Mario Odyssey. You throw your hat. You capture abilities. You press buttons to use said abilities. You jump. You run around. You have an ability to roll. The game uses a cartoon art style. It runs at 60 frames a second. It is 900p. It dips. There is a screenshot mode that makes the visuals look factually better. And you save Princess Peach by fighting Bowser. There are X amount of bosses, X amount of worlds. The worlds have themes, but because of spoilers, I can't tell you those themes. There are 75 different types of enemies. Done. There's your list of facts. How does any of that tell you if Mario Odyssey is good or worth playing? It doesn't. It's just a list of facts. It doesn't tell you how a game feels. So, yeah, you just... listening to facts isn't... What people say they want from reviews isn't actually what they want from reviews. I mean, they want you to basically make a checkbox of the game has this, the game has this, the game has this, the game has this. It doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have... But not talk about whether or not having all that stuff actually works. So, yeah, it's frustrating when I see opinions like that. And it goes on and on and on. And then you have like Brett Cummings bring up an interesting point. You can't trust review scores. Watch Battlefront 2 get good scores even though it's pay to win. The thing is, even if Battlefront 2 gets good scores, that means that the game is good despite the pay to win aspects. So, yeah. I don't know. Just my take. Obviously, review scores is a conversation for another time. I'm not even talking about the score. I'm just talking about the review itself. Reviews are subjective. They cannot be objective. If they were objective, you would actually hate the reviews because they won't actually tell you if the game is good. Anyways, folks, I am Nathaniel Rufflegents from Nintendo Prime. If you like this video, you know what to do. And if you dislike the video, hit that dislike button. Let me know down in the comments what you think reviews are supposed to do and why. If you disagree with me, you know what? That's okay. It's fine. We don't even do a lot of reviews here, so I wouldn't even call us a review channel in the first place. I just have some strong feelings on this. And you know what, folks? I will catch you in the next one.